Hi guys, welcome to the channel. There are a couple of things I want to talk to you about today, and a lot of it of course is going to be based on resilience, and resilience one more time. It is becoming more important than ever. Only since I've done the other video a couple of weeks back, we talked about starting the growing, whether it's just inside or outside, it needs to be done because I had sort of a bit of a bad feeling, and a lot of you concurred as well. There's now Spain coming up and telling us that it's going to be a massive food shortage because of the flooding. It is not really surprising, to be fair, because we ourselves here had pretty much 3 months worth of rain constantly. We had like maybe one dry day with a bit of sunshine, but it's been absolutely horrific. And unfortunately for the Spain, it is exactly the same thing. So they had tons and tons of floods in the area where they have their massive greenhouses that take like a lot of the hectares. And of course they had flooding in the fields as well. So basically they're telling us, not really telling us, but they're just saying they're like, whoa, we're losing a lot of crops. Apparently they have to pull a lot of crops from the greenhouses, and of course when the fields are flooded then this stuff gets obviously rotting there. So they talked about the tomatoes, they talked about lettuces, peppers, cucumbers, some winter vegetables, and things like the asparagus. Apparently fields of asparagus are flooded, and loads of other things as well. I'm pretty sure majority of you guys know that we are, as an island, relying on Spain for quite a lot, especially during the winter times. And we actually rely on their winter vegetables as well, believe this or not. Go figure. But nonetheless, right, they're saying that we're going to be seeing a massive shortages, like we've seen somehow with the lettuce a couple of years back. But this is going to be more than that, and it's going to be longer than that as well. Of course, from that comes the increased prices. Chances are the stuff that's frozen going to be going up in price, and because they had issues with the olives yet again, because of the flooding, apparently a lot of trees dropped the fruit, so they're not going to be having a lot of olive oil produced again. All of this is going to be having a massive effect on, oh look, what is this? A little bit of a light coming out there. That's lovely to see. Anyway, so yeah, basically we're going to be having a massive issues, and this is on the top of things that is already happening. And to be fair, when you read, it's not publicly sort of out there, it's in the Spanish news. It is horrendous, and I do really feel for the farmers. To be fair, I feel for all of the farmers who have to grow in this current situation. I'm going to be calling this that. But the principle of this, guys, it's pointing out to you, not to get you scared about the food shortages. It's going to be happening. Yes, we're going to see bare shelves. We're going to see increased prices, things like the berries and strawberries, which are also affected. So yeah, this is going to be a problem going forward and in a few months' time. So again, the point is trying to make ourselves more resilient to what is happening. And the best way of doing this is just try to do is the best as you can, even if it's growing on the windowsill. See, a couple of weeks back, I've done the video and I showed you what I've started, but I've missed a few things, and a few of you have been asking more questions about what the best thing to do, how to start. So I'll show you, and I go through a few things there, and then I go outside and I show you a couple of other things that I've missed on the last video, to basically give you a little bit of a better idea. Again, the more the things that are happening in the world outside, the more and more I'm thinking, I got to do better, because yes, lettuce we can grow, other things we can grow, but some things are really not working that well all the time. And also the predictions, right, for this year, so what I understand so far is we're going to be having obviously wet spring, but then they're predicting rather hot summer again with a lot of drought. So last year it was good to have a warm year, but the lack of water did ruin a lot of things. So this year looks like it's going to be very similar potentially to the last year. So gotta try to bear this in mind and adjust what we're trying to grow and how we're trying to grow it. So guys, let me just show you first of all. Some of you talked about the microgreens, and I've grown them here. So I've got cress, which I showed you, and do try and, if you do want to grow them a lot, try to buy a big pack rather than a little packs. Although I did get smaller ones from Lidl, which I'll show you in a minute. The bigger packet seem to be far more cost effective. So the cress is not doing too bad, right? See, I've got them here. They are sort of going a little bit towards the light. I'll show you that in a second. But nonetheless, right, it's not doing too bad. So cress is growing okay. And somebody suggested as well the alfalfa. And I never heard of them before. But this is until I actually opened my big cress packet, and there was a freebie there of quite a few of the little seeds. So I planted them on. So they're next there. They look a bit scrawny. No idea what they're going to taste like. But apparently they're really, really good. Anything, guys, you can grow like as micro little seedlings things. It's like you can grow beets, you can do radishes, pretty much anything apart from like tomatoes and peppers. That doesn't work. But this is what I'm concentrating on, just 2 of them. And then in Lidl, again, for any of you who's maybe interested buying the seeds, I refuse to pay horrendous prices on the branded seeds. To me, just not worth the effort, not worth the value. I collect my own, but I still buy from Lidl. See, at the moment, they do things like they're number 1, so they're all priced up. They're 29p each, or you get them 5 for a pound, which I think is absolutely bargain. So I've got some cress again. So basically, if you didn't want to spend, if you want to try out, didn't want to spend like £10 on a packet of big cress seeds, go and spend 29p or 20p and then buy some and give them a go. Parsley, I've got radishes, I've got some more basil, I've got lettuce, different kind of lettuces, and some more cress. They have tons and tons of choice there. Not everything is that cheap. Obviously, the more extravagant the seed is, the higher the price. But nonetheless, to get you going, it doesn't have to cost you a fortune. So let me just turn the camera around and I show you how much my little tomatoes have grown. So here, first of all, I forgot to show you last time because I didn't have it set up. I've put a towel rail here, which is connected to a plug on there on the timer. So that comes on here to keep the guys warm over the cold days and really cold nights. I think at the moment I'm, what was it, 18 degrees or so, which is, yeah, a couple of degrees better than it is in the house. Right, so tomatoes, look at them. So the grow lights I use, which I haven't showed you, a lot of you asked, they're the ones that are on a clip. You clip them on and they've got timers. I'll put the link down in the description if you wanted to have a look at them. This is a bit scarce because I have planted them on. My peppers, or chilies in fact, a little bit funny, bunched in a corner there and a couple more coming out. But this is what my tommies look like. Different kind of light you can see, but here we are. They're looking rather healthy. I'm happy with that. They've gone into little cups now. I'm going to be doing this with them very soon, and I will be planting my next batch or seeding next batch any day now. So here, a bit disappointing. We have coriander and we have dill. Really leggy, really weird. They haven't been on this shelf all the time. They have been by the light. Not seem to be working out that well, but we'll see. We'll give them a bit of time and see what happens. So the experiment with my peas, you might remember, I had them in the soil with the roots underwater there. Let me just see if I can do that for you. Right, you can see they are pushing through, but they're not really doing that good particularly. The ones I had in water alone, I had to put soil on top because they just weren't working. And they are not working still. They're here, but they're not really doing a lot. I'm not really sure why. But of course, the best ones, you can see them, we've started harvesting them already in the deeper soil. They've been planted at the same time as all of them, the same day, but you can see that's it, they're done. They're ready to go. And I've got some more of the little tommies here. Okay, so not too bad. So this is the cress. It's a little bit scarce, but it's getting there. That's the second batch, and this is the alpha. So not really sure. I would expect a little bit better, but just gives you an idea. This is whatever you expect. It doesn't always work out properly. And anyway, and that's some more piece here. That's again, we're half and half. I'm not really sure why, but this is where we're at here. So let's go outside. So outside now, you can see it's brightened up a little bit. I've got to say, it's been absolutely depressing. Having a constant rain, it is absolutely horrendous. It rained all day, well, all morning so far. We'll have a little bit of a sun there. Trouble is, right, we got to now get to the stage where we have to just get outside and just start doing this. It's almost March, all right? And I think I was a little bit more ahead of achieving things outside in terms of getting the garden ready and getting it tidy, but not this year because I just got to feel so down and depressed with this constant rain. It is absolutely ridiculous, but it's a whole idea as well. And I'm doing them when I'm doing those videos. I'm hopefully also trying to encourage myself as well as encourage you guys to. It's giving me a kick up the bum basically to get up and just continue doing stuff in spite of the weather really. So let me just show you a couple of other things that I missed to show you on the previous video. Right, it might not sound like a big thing or the big deal, but the way things are going, I think it's important. So I've got some kale here. That was the, I think, Russian curly or Russian black kale or something. It's been seeded out end of last year, right? So I've planted some up. They're not doing that great, but I have them, okay? And I know last year it did really well. So this is, to me, is going to be a base of all of the greenery and the nutrients if else fails, because they're rather good even in the heat. It doesn't bolt that quickly, so to me it's going to be my probably one of those go-to resilient crops. And this is one of, again, the main things. I've bought this. This is a Hugh Richards, like, Australian tree cabbage, or this is what I heard from him about it, which is basically a tree cabbage. It grows as a tree and you harvest the leaves. It never sort of becomes a ball, it's just the loose leaves. And it had a bad start to the year, but now it looks like it's sort of manning up a bit. It's got nice stem on there and it grows huge, and you can apparently when it produces new shoots or something, you can plant them on. So to me, I'm hoping it's going to be another one of those things you plant once and are going to be rely on this to, well, hopefully throughout the year. And then of course I have the artichoke that seem to be starting to grow now, which is kind of a good idea. It's been rather mild, but generally my garden is absolute dump. I'm doing things. I'm doing some mulching at the moment. I'll show you there. But it's really difficult to get the motivation to do it when it's constantly raining. So I've basically been mulching around, and I've put the new path over there to stop the weeds growing through. It's basically a lot of work, and the time is pushing on. So soon we're going to be seeing probably spring buds coming out. So there we are, guys. That gives you, again, a hopefully slightly better idea. I'm not really a gardening channel. I'm not a gardening guru. I'm just doing things. I've been growing for 20 plus years. I got basic understanding what it is. But with the way the weather is going and everything else, I want to really concentrate, I think, more on the microgreens and sprouts, just in case, on the top of what's growing in a garden. Because if the weather is really, really bad and you can't really control either one way or the other, either too much heat or not enough heat is going to have an effect on what we're growing. It's just inevitable. But inside, I have better control because we can have extra lighting if need be. For the grow lights, you can control the waterings. If you're doing sprouts, it just, I don't know, we'll have a better control. And this is something we've got to think about. It's got to think about how to be resilient with what's coming. And it's really important to also understand to what it is currently happening and what's potentially predicted to happen, because now means we can act now. We can make decisions now to plan for a better future, growing future for us. So there we are, guys. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions about anything I'm growing, seeds, names, whatever, comment down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.